I'm Benjamin, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I grew up with my mom, who's Filipino and also religious. And a lot of Filipino families are very traditional. And I remember growing up with a lot of Catholic iconography, and religion was always a very big part of my upbringing. So, growing up and having to kind of deal with these coming out milestones with my mom was, always very anxiety ridden. I basically had to come out to her 3 times. One as being gay, the second time as owning a porn company, and then the third time being in a polyamorous relationship with 2 other guys. When I came out as gay, I was 17 years old, and we used to have these explosive fights where we would just scream at each other and yell at each other, and then we just won't talk for a whole week. And so one time we were having a fight, and I'd been seeing various therapists prior to that, and I knew that she kept telling the therapist for them to tell me to come out to her as gay. But I just wasn't buying it. So one time we were having this huge fight and, yelling at each other from across the apartment. And just at one point she just screams at me, "Are you gay?" And then I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gay." And then all of a sudden the conversation just takes a complete 360 and she starts telling me that she's completely fine with it, and then goes into stories about her experimenting with lesbian relationships in college, which, going from one moment where we're screaming at each other to the next moment where I'm getting way too much information about my mom's experimenting with sexuality, was very unexpected. Fast forward to 22, and, I was working in the adult industry. I own my own company, which was CockyBoys, and I've been traveling a lot and doing a lot of events with my boyfriends, and the whole time my mother has been asking me, asking me subtle questions about what I do and why I was traveling, and I'd always give her like really vague answers. And eventually I was just on the phone with her, and I was just like, I just told her I work in the adult entertainment business and we own a porn company. And so when I told her, she just asked me the same questions that any concerned mother would. She just, wanted to know if I was safe and if it was a supportive environment, and just wanted to make sure that I was happy. And I feel like she would ask those same questions had I worked at Starbucks or, any place else. My mom knew that I was working in the porn industry with my 2 partners or friends, Jason and Adrian, and she'd known them and she'd seen them, and we'd all gone out to lunch and dinner and stuff. So she actually liked them a lot, and she'd always ask me like how they're doing whenever I see her, and but she didn't know that we were in a relationship until. It was last year actually when we were out at lunch together with her gay hairstylist friend. They were talking about me like she talks about me a lot to him. And she just kind of let slip that I'm the son with the 2 boyfriends, like in a really subtle way. And she didn't like follow it up with any other questions or really say anything else about it. And he just kind of went, "Oh, okay." And for me, it was kind of her just subtle acknowledgement that she knew about my relationship, and she was totally fine with it. I feel like telling her that I was in a poly relationship was like the last one, and every single time I told her, she completely surprised me with her reactions to it, in which she really didn't react at all. She was, in almost every situation, she was just kind of waiting for me to tell her so that she could tell me that, it's okay. And, she's just happy that I'm happy. Honesty is the best thing in life. sometimes the consequences of it aren't comfortable, but it's so much better than having to live a lie, because you become a slave to that lie. And it's a form of, I think, self-aggression, having to hide such deep parts of yourself.